Welcome to the spine-chilling stories, where you hear true horror stories around the world that are both creepy and chilling. So let's dive in. The Hauntings of Houska Castle. Hidden deep within the forests of Czech Republic, Houska Castle sat in unnatural solitude. Unlike other medieval castles, it had no fortifications, no water source, no kitchen, and most disturbingly, no intention of being lived in. Historians puzzled over its purpose, but the villagers who lived nearby had always known the dark truth behind this castle. Houska Castle was not built as a defense against outside invaders. Instead, it was constructed to seal something inside, something that had already been there long, long before the stones were laid. For generations, the land beneath castle had been feared, a bottomless pit, black as night, was said to exist there, a gaping wound in the earth from which monstrous creatures crawled out at night. Local farmers had seen grotesque winged figures sinking through between the trees, their skeletal forms barely human, their blackened mouths stretched wide in silent screams. The villagers refused to approach the pit. No one knows where it led. Nobody wanted to find out until the ruler of the region ordered the castle to be built directly over that famous haunted pit. During the construction, the Lord overseeing the castle's creation needed to know what lay beneath the pit. He ordered a condemned prisoner to be lowered into the pit with a rope. If the man returned with information, his life would be spared. The prisoner, eager for freedom, as he was slowly lowered the impenetrable darkness pit, covered with darkness, not a single flicker of light. The workers above heard only the sound of his breathing and the creaking of rope. Then, suddenly, a horrific, blood-curdling scream erupted from the pit. The prisoner thrashed violently, his cries echoing through the caravan walls. His screaming of being pulled up, and his screams of terror could be heard. "Pull him up," the workers shouted, their hands fumbling with the rope. When the man was lifted back into the daylight, his hair had turned completely white. His face was twisted in terror, his eyes wide and empty. He clenched his own arms as if shielding himself for something unseen. He was delusional. He was seeing something, talking and muttering in the language no one recognized. He died 2 days later, whispering a single word over and over again: "Do not extinguish the light." After the castle was completed, the strange occurrences did not stop. Guards stationed inside reported eerie experiences, disembodied voices whispering in their ear as if something was just behind them. Heavy footsteps echoing through the empty halls at night, shadows moving against the walls even when no one was there. One night, a guard named Victor woke up to a clawed hand pressing against his throat. His screams startled the other guards, but when they burst into the room, he was alone, terrified and trembling. The only sign of his attacker was deep blackened handprints on his neck, as if someone tried to strangle him. In 2012, a group of tourists decided to test the legend. One of them, a woman named Clara, stood in front of the mirror while her friends filmed. At first, the reflection was normal, nothing unusual. But then something happened. Her face shifted, her eyes hollowed out, her lips elongated, her mouth stretched open. In the silent, unnatural scream, and long, bony fingers appeared off shoulders, belonging to something else, something that was standing right behind her. The group fled to the castle immediately. Clara refused to speak of what she saw, and the footage mysteriously corrupted, as if it was completely gone after they left. One of Houska Castle's most disturbing features is an ancient ornate mirror, that same mirror that Carla witnessed a horror when she looked at it. A mirror that sits in one of the abandoned chambers. Legend claims that those who look into that mirror at night do not see their own reflection, but rather something else looking back at them. Something dark, something horrific. To this day, the castle is avoided at night. Paranormal investigators who stay overnight report deep growls coming from beneath the stone walls, as if something was trapped there. But when they look at it, there's nothing but echo of grotesque screams coming from the corridors. One group set up recording equipment near the sealed pit, the same pit which was believed to be haunted in the castle. Exactly at 3 a.m., their microphone picked up a chilling scream, not quite human, not quite animal. A low, ragged breathing followed by a single whisper, a whisper that once killed a prisoner. Do not extinguish the light. One investigator collapsed in a seizure. Another woke up days later with nightmares and fears and deep scratches down his back. The group never spoke publicly about what happened that night. Houska Castle remains one of the most mysterious, feared locations in Europe. Tourists continue to visit, people continue to talk, but few dare to stay past sunset. Was it truly built to trap demons beneath the earth? Or is it simply a place where the past refused to rest? One thing is certain, something is watching from the darkness within the castle. And it's waiting for its next victim to come inside the pit. Houska Castle's legend is one of the most chilling supernatural stories in the history, whether a cursed gateway to hell or simply a place ancient horrors. One thing is certain, it was never built for living. Would you dare to visit it? For more stories like this, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching the spine-chilling stories where you fear your nightmares.